Hey guys, JB here from Alpha Wolf Consulting, coming to you today with the next session in the Alpha Wolf Personal Development and Expansion series. And this session is going to be all about this understanding of creating and embodying purpose or meaning and purpose within my own life. So I gave you this morning 5 core lessons that I have learned while trying to find, create, and embody. Now, the reason it's create and embody is because the find aspect is fucking stupid. Throw it out the window. It's irrelevant. You're looking for something external when it exists only internal to you. Your meaning and your purpose in life only ever exist internal to you, never external to you. The external manifestation of your meaning and purpose in life is the expression of you embodying it internally. I.e., if what means something to me in life is family and things like that, when I take actions of embodying, i.e., when I take actions of being around family, of engaging with family, of interacting with family, like I am embodying my meaning and purpose in life, or my meaning in life. Do you sort of get it? The purpose aspect of it is the service aspect. So the purpose is how we physically manifest what means something to us in life. Do you sort of get it? So, like I serve family through, acts of service, being of service, this, that, and the other. Do you sort of get it? So that's sort of how that works. So we realize creating is constructing, is determining, deciding, choosing. Who do I want to be in this life? What means something to me in this life? What do I want to do in life? How do I want to serve? How do I want to express the internal state of me into the external environment? Because I cannot influence or change the external environment unless, okay, there's only one exception that allows me to change or alter the external environment, and that is what I contribute to it. So, should I want it to be more joyful? If I tell a fucking joke, the atmosphere gets more joyful. Do you sort of get it? Very important to understand this because when we're trying to understand this, we realize the push and pull of life is that I do not push into life and try to dominate life. I pull or lean into life through how I express myself in life, through my expression of internal to external. Does my will dominate the external environment? Do you sort of get it? So that's how we dominate the external environment, i.e., when I'm an authentic person and I speak about what means something to me and I talk about it and things like that, I dominate my external environment. Because irrespective of if anyone else joins in, like I am creating and filling the environment with what I want. Do you sort of get it? So it's this understanding of creation. Do you sort of get it? Domination through creation. Should I want more positivity in the world? I don't fucking wish and want for it. I fucking build that motherfucker. Do you sort of get it? I take the actions. Not because other people need to, but in spite of other people. If no one wants to take the actions, fuck them. I'll take the actions. Do you sort of get it? Like, I don't mind carrying the team on my back. Do you sort of get it? So it's sort of like in like conversations, in interactions with others. If I want kindness and I value kindness, and kindness means something to me in this life, like I don't give a fuck if I'm carrying the team. Do you sort of get it? Like I'm going to be kind because I want to. If you want to be unkind, like that's cool, but like I don't have to change who I am for you. So I can kindly say, man, you're a fucking idiot. Fuck off. Do you sort of get it? I'm not being mean to you. I'm just sort of fucking telling you. Do you sort of get it? So it's this important understanding that I don't have to cease being kind because other people aren't being kind. I can just take very unkind actions pleasantly. Do you sort of get it? It's a fucking trick, so to speak. It's a play on understanding or conceptualization or perspective. I can see it as I am reacting to the environments that I'm in, or I am constructing the environments that I'm in. Should I choose to construct the environment that I'm in, I am the one that sets the rules. So if that other person feels offended because I tell them, like, you're a fucking useless cunt, like, fuck off, like, sort of, that's on them. Like, I don't have to see it as negative just because they feel a bit pissy. Do you sort of get it? Like, so that's the realization. If I'm reacting to it, I am sort of playing off their energy. If I am constructing or creating the environment, I am imposing my will on the environment. Do you sort of get it? So it's like a funny thing. If you were to be aggressive or over aggressive, especially to others in my presence, I will go to a high level of aggression until I deem that you fucking understand. I don't want to be in aggression. Do you sort of get it? But if we're going to aggression, we're going all the way. Do you sort of get it? So, like, for example, should you try to intimidate someone around me, I will just clearly state, I can fucking kill you now if you want to fight to the death. I'm fucking down, cunt. Do you sort of get it? Like, if you want to fight to the death and you think that you can kill me, it's a pretty easy choice, isn't it? But are you willing to roll the dice that maybe you overlooked or did not see something? It hides behind my eyes. It's always been waiting to come out. Do you sort of get it? So we understand, okay, in life, like, we create the fucking reality, not like, we're not existing within life. We create life through our existence. So should you want to try to create hell, I will show you the depths of hell. Do you sort of get it? It hides behind my eyes. And when it shifts and it changes, do you sort of get it? You're not speaking to a human anymore. Very important to get this, because many of the weak people in this world that go around and impose and try to dominate other people and manipulate other people and blah, 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 like, it's all good. Like, be that way. Just know, like, you know what I mean? There are people out there that, should they see that, maybe they want to put your head through the ground. Do you sort of get it? And we use the expression through. Do you sort of get it? Not hitting your head on the ground. Either your head goes into the ground or the ground, like my hand, goes into the ground and your head is not there anymore. Do you sort of get it? Like, very important to get this. That's how much I dislike those cunts. All right. So we realize when we're getting off topic a bit there, but when we get back onto topic, like, do you know what I mean? Your meaning and purpose is whatever you want it to be. You construct the reality. Do you sort of get it? I.e., in certain situations, I don't see violence as being a negative thing. Do you sort of get it? I don't see violence as being the answer or even a solution. But when in Rome, why the fuck wouldn't you burn it down? Do you sort of get it? Like, if people take you there or people want to take you there. So, like, we realize that, like, it's interchangeable for anything. It's just a way of understanding. So it's a way of understanding violence, that I don't live in violence, but should someone take me to violence, like, do you know what I mean? I'm going to spend some time looking around. I'm not somewhere I don't want to be. And now we move it over to something like insecurities or personal insecurities. Should someone talk negatively or down about me, or make up gossip or lies or whatever it may be, talk snarky, however it may be, right? Whatever the insecurity is, like, should you take me there? I don't mind sitting here. I don't mind looking at all the different reflections of me, even the weak ones, because I've found through life, the more I look at the weak ones, the more I see the strength behind them. Do you sort of get it? The more I address actions that I've taken in the past that were not actions of strength or not actions of empowerment, the more I look at them, the more I see how to change. Do you sort of get it? So, like, for example, let's say we're someone who cheated on someone yonks ago. Do you sort of get it? Like, if I cheat on someone and I never look at the behaviors that caused me to do that, i.e., the weakness, do you sort of get it? Like, because everything's back to choices and decisions. So it's either the weakness in the inability to end the relationship, or the weakness in, like, breaking the bond or the word, so to speak. Do you sort of get it? Like, if I don't look at that, if I don't address that, it will never get better. Do you sort of get it? So it's this idea that there is nothing physical you can do to me. There is nothing mental. There is nothing emotional. There is nothing spiritual you can ever do to me. Because should you take me to the darkest places you think are there, I'm going to basically just sit down and start enjoying it because I take myself there. Do you sort of get it? Like, it's not an uncomfortable state because I choose how I want to feel in any moment. Do you sort of get it? So, like, in life, okay, like when we're creating our meaning, like, this is just the path we want to walk in life. Do you sort of get it? Like, my meaning that I create, i.e., what means something to me in life. Is it love? Is it, this, that, and the other? Like, we don't acknowledge the bullshit ones that are based out of the external environment. These are only ever based out of the internal environment. So, like, what means something to me in life cannot be other people. It can only ever be how I feel around other people. It can never exist in the external, because should it exist in the external, if other people die and you don't die, your meaning to life was taken from you. Do you sort of get it? Creates weakness. Weakness equals corruption. If my meaning to life is those who I love, should you kill those who I love, you have now taken everything from me in life. Should my meaning in life be how I felt around those I love in life, should you drag me into hell and try to torture me, you will never take that from me. Do you sort of see the power? Like, you can chop off every body part you want. You are not fucking taking that from me. It's never gonna happen. So my meaning to life will exist as long as I exist. Do you sort of get it? If I put it into the external environment, I am now exposed, over leveraged. Should you fuck with any of that, like, you can take from me, you can destroy, you can stop me getting what I want in life. You want to fucking take that feeling from me? Good luck. Do you sort of get it? Try to take every relationship from me in life. That feeling's still there because I'm fucking still here. The feeling is how I experienced it, not the environment. Do you sort of get it? Like, we're focusing on the experience of. So in love, it would be the experience of love. how I experience love when I'm with other people. You cannot do anything to me to fuck with that. Do you sort of get it? You can lie, cheat, and steal. Like, evidently, if you take negative action, it was never a part of this. Do you sort of get it? You null and void any harm you could ever have done. Because if I thought you were a better person than you are, and you choose to fucking stab me in the back, like, I'm not a weak person because of that. Do you sort of get it? Like, you didn't do anything to harm me. You just showed everyone exactly who you are. Do you sort of get it? So, like, we understand, like, this concept of I let go to the need to fear in life because everything I experience in life benefits me. It's perception. So, like, for example, in life, like, the path I walk, no one else sees because it's not meant for them to see, only I see. Do you sort of get it? So, like, me trying to ask them for directional advice along my path, they only ever see the path through their eyes, the path they're on. I.e., if I take advice from cunts that are cynical, sour, and fucking like got their finger jammed so much up their own ass and egotistical and narcissistic, me oh my, how good are those directions that I'm getting? Do you sort of get it? It's like asking someone who's blind, which way did he go? Do you sort of get it? Like, who's him? Is it someone inside his peripheral vision? Is it someone external to his peripheral vision? And when we say peripheral vision, we're talking about like the scents, the sounds, the smells, and things like that. So, like, that's the thing. If I ask someone who evidently does not embody or create within their own life what I want within my own life, like, evidently, like, they're leading me to a different fucking place. Do you know what I mean? So it's sort of like this. Like, if we stay on love, it's like this. Say I get in a relationship with you, and then we're going good, we're going good. We have these aligned sort of beliefs, values, things like that. And then 2 months in, you start to change. You don't really care about holding the standards of your values and things like that. The weight starts to get to it. You know what I mean? So we think about this in terms of like grooming standards and things like that. And in terms of like, putting in the effort and all of that. It's sort of like if it's hard for you to be yourself, like who you want to be, because evidently in dating, we all show people like the ideal version of ourselves. And it just comes down to if we're able to carry that weight or not. It's so funny because when we think about this, like most people think it's the most impossible thing in the world to be themselves in this world. They're afraid. And it's sort of like they're afraid of the weight and the bearing of other people not liking them, of other people judging them, of being misjudged. And they don't realize like the weight is a perception. Do you sort of get it? Like you can perceive it as being a ton, you can perceive it as being a gram. The choice is fucking yours. So, like, whatever you want to do, following your path in life and trusting yourself and like being yourself and going for what you want in life can be the hardest thing in life to do, or it can be the most effortless thing. Now, if you're in the box saying that it's the hardest thing to do in life, just realize you're doing that to yourself. You're acting like a bitch, pretending like something that is easy is fucking difficult. Like, what do you walk 5K and think you've done a marathon? Like, maybe try walking 40K a day and then see what you're capable of. Do you sort of get it? Like, so many people jam their finger up their ass trying to make out that the pain they feel is from the exertion that they're putting out. Do you sort of get it? But they haven't done anything. They've only exerted their finger up their ass. Do you sort of get it? That's why most people's wheels are spinning in life and they don't move towards or achieve what they want to achieve in life. It's because they haven't even started. They're just pretending. They're creating pain on themselves and then pretending, i.e., in love. If I find it difficult to find relationships and, to find that person, or I'm always creating these cycles, it's because I'm doing it to myself. Do you sort of get it? And I'm pretending like the pain of that is the journey to find love. Do you sort of get it? Like, it's very important to get this because we realize, like, when I stop creating this being difficult, this being painful, this being this being that, like, when I stop creating bullshit excuses to try and fucking, like, puff up my chest and make myself feel better. Do you know what I mean? Like, some blokes go to the gym and they work out for an hour and they think I'm a fucking beast. Like, your body's potential could work out for 20 fucking hours in a day. Trust me. Look back through history when there were wars and sieges that went on for days. Look to current wars where fighters have to fight for days on end in battles that are continuous firefights. Do you sort of get it? Very important to get this because while you think an hour is a fucking good feat of exertion, like, cunts can do like fucking days. Do you sort of get it? And we haven't even got into like the elite special forces. You know what I mean? The ones that can fucking, you know, go days with injury. Do you sort of get it? Like, that's the thing. So we pompous ourselves up and create illusions like we're achieving goals, but these aren't goals. Like, these are just the steps to walk along the path. Like, they're not meant to be difficult. I.e., if you think going into the gym and working out for 1 hour a day is difficult, like, you don't know what exertion is. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can put in a good effort over an hour, but that ain't exertion. That ain't putting out. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, look back to things like the logging industry before all the machinery and things like that, or mining. Do you know what I mean? Or even agriculture and things like that, like the cowboys and things like that that go and wrangle the animals. Like, trust me, go do what they do, and you'll realize, like, all the bullshit excuses that I was telling myself about how I was putting out are just full of shit. Like, when you truly push your body beyond the known, the physical, like, you find out the truth. Do you sort of get it? So we realize in life, the path I want to walk is the path that feels good to me. Do you sort of get it? But I don't create illusions that I'm walking the path when I'm fucking standing still. If I'm not taking action towards what I want in life, I am not walking the path. Walking the path is the embodiment of taking the actions. So if I do not take action towards what I want in life, yet I think it's difficult for me to get what I want in life, I am the one creating the pain and the illusion. Do you sort of get it? I'm creating the escape plan for when I quit. Me, oh my, what a coward am I. I would not want to be in a trench with you. For while I'm looking for the enemy, you're planning your escape. So should I ever depend on you, it's only going to ever lead to my demise. So I have to pretend like you do not exist because you are a liability to me. Do you sort of get it? Don't doubt yourself. Whatever path you want in life is the path you are on. whatever path you're on in life is evidently the path you want. If you find yourself saying, I don't want the path I'm on, then realize what you want in life. That's it. And then walk it. And as soon as you take action towards the goals, you have now achieved them because you are someone who can achieve them and who is achieving them. You are in that process. If you are not taking action towards the goal, like you haven't even started yet. Like you're standing there walking in place, pretending like you're walking the path. Do you sort of get it? Like you can do that all you want, but nothing changes the distance except walking the path. So you can pretend that the path is difficult. You can pretend that the path is easy. Doesn't really mean shit. If you take the actions or walk the path, you are walking the path. That's it. So, like, for example, embodying meaning or creating meaning and purpose in life, like, as soon as I say that honor is my meaning in life, this is now my meaning in life. Like, if I take actions towards that, i.e., I use a lens of honor in all my actions and behaviors and decisions, then I am embodying it. Like, do you sort of get it? So we create it and then we embody it. And it's only through embodying it are we actually doing anything. I can create all the best plans and strategies in life to achieve everything. If I don't fucking take action, nothing fucking happens. Do you sort of get it? Do we realize it's not about other people? You sort of get it? You know what feels right to you. And if you honor only doing, or not to say only doing, but if you honor doing what's right to you in this life, and what feels right to you, and what feels right, being who feels right to you, being around the people that feel right to you, like all these different things. If you honor that, like you have now achieved your dream life. Do you sort of get it? Like realize we don't really need the cars, we don't really need the money, we don't really need the fucking fame. If I realize what I want and I move towards that and live my life embodying that, I have achieved everything and I didn't even have to do anything. Do you sort of get it? Very important to get this because this leads us on to the understanding that the connection of our heart. So, how I connect to all is through the heart. Now, it is literal and figurative connecting through the heart because it's like if we were to think of it literally, it is a heart mind connection. So what we are doing is connecting to our subconscious, our emotions and our feelings, okay, which is separate from our heart. Do you sort of get it? Because our emotions and feelings are like the beating of our heart. Do you sort of get it? Our emotions and feelings are thoughts, and thoughts exist within the mind. Do you sort of get it? The heart is the link between the biochemical receptors in the brain and the biochemical receptors in the body. So the heart is sort of how we transfer thought into physical or physicality. Do you sort of get it? So I access my heart through how I think and feel. Do you sort of get it? Like all that happens up here, and then I access because how I think and feel alters and shifts the biochemical responses in my brain. When my brain gets dumps of adrenaline, it alters like the response to my heart and influences it. So we realize through concentration and thought, I can alter my biochemical response or signals to my heart to alter and change the frequency of the energetic state within my heart, or the vibration of my heart, or the frequency of my heart, however you want to see it. That is my link. But also, that is my compass to being able to feel or decipher information and knowledge that I am given. Do you sort of get it? So it's pretty important, but basically what we are trying to do is become at peace with my emotional state. So when I get emotional regulation, okay, and everything's stable in my emotions, I am now able to understand it. So when we're looking at our emotions, we're understanding, what emotions do I want to feel? What emotions do I not want to feel? I.e., if I don't want to feel jealousy in life, why the fuck would I be jealous of other people? Do you sort of get it? If I don't want to feel jealousy in life, and like, let's say I like a girl and some other dude's hitting on her and then she starts hitting on him, like, I don't want to be jealous. Fuck off. Do you sort of get it? Like, I'm just gonna say no, thank you. Like, I'm not attracted to you anymore because I lose all attraction for what I do not want. Do you sort of get it? So we realize, like, if I don't want jealousy in my life, why would I accept it as being a part of my life? Do you get it? Like, why would I sit there and be like, someone's taking something from me? Should you try to steal from me? I'll give it to you, motherfucker. I don't need it. Do you sort of get it? What? You know, but like, let's say it's a more serious connection. Well, maybe I'll go over there and I'll take something from them. Their two front teeth, because I like trophies. Do you sort of get it? And I'll make a very pretty necklace out of them. So we realize we can choose either way. I can choose to detach and not care, or I can choose to overreact. Like, it's sort of determined on what you think of as being enjoyable. Like, what you want to create in reality, you embody and you create. Do you sort of get it? Like, there's no set rule that I have to do any specific way. So, like, there's no one there saying these actions are good and these actions are bad. You know what actions are good to you, you know what actions are bad to you. Like, if it becomes a murder mystery, trying to figure out what's right and what's wrong, like, realize you're full of shit and you're fucking talking shit to yourself, and stop being weak. Like, it's just that simple. If you find yourself telling yourself lies and illusions and trying to justify negative behavior, go find a mirror, look in the mirror, and realize you're weak. That's it. That's why you feel the way you feel. Do you sort of get it? Like, we have to create and embody, like, who we want to be in this life. Do you sort of get it? So, like, for example, if I say I'm a loyal person, but I think cheating's okay, do you sort of get it? Me, oh my, how fucking loyal am I? So, like, if we act and behave that way, where we try to say I'm one thing and then we act in a different way, anytime you ever find yourself sitting there trying to convince yourself of how, you know, it's acceptable, just know you're weak. Because should I walk in on you convincing yourself that it is acceptable, I will show you it's weak. Do you sort of get it? I will tell you, I will call you who you are. And should you get pissy and want to act out, I don't mind. Do you sort of get it? Like, I like combat and fighting. Do you sort of get it? So it's very important to understand this, because we start to realize, like, in life, our meaning and our purpose cannot be given by others. Do you sort of get it? If I say honor means something to me, I bear the responsibility of honor within me. Therefore, if I see something that I do not think is right, the responsibility is on me to deal with the situation. Do you sort of get it? Fuck the police. I'm not calling the police. For example, if I see a bloke lay hands on a girl, like, why do we need the police? Don't stress. Do you sort of get it? Like, we don't need the police. If that cunt dies, like, evidently we haven't had a loss in this life. Do you sort of get it? Like, if if people want to take negative action in life, like, do you sort of get it? It's not negative to fucking put their head through the fucking ground. That's not a negative thing. Should someone be out there and be using their strength and power over others, enjoy it while it lasts. Because should I see it like I have a mandate to fucking take your power, to take your strength away from you? Do you sort of get it? Maybe I stomp your knee until the bones are in shattered pieces, so the recovery leaves you with a limp and you can't walk properly for the rest of your life without pain. Me oh my, how good are you going to be at attacking other people? Do you sort of get it? Alrighty. So, hey, how's it going, Claudia?
Claude.
Oh, Claude, sorry.
No problem, mate.
How have you been today?
Oh, can't complain, mate. Busy with insurances, but never mind.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. So, what got you in here today?
Oh, just listening to can one of I can expand my uh
Hmm.
spiritual side of me more than anything. We can
Yeah. Yeah,
but
we can have a chat around that. That'd be pretty
yeah,
fun.
yeah, because they can my grandmother was a minister of a spiritualist church and my auntie's psychic and things like that.
Yeah.
And I've always reasonably good with my intuition, but I've sort of life's got in the
Y-
way and I haven't followed any of those paths. So
Yeah. It's one of those things that it's sort of like it exists within you at all times. But like what I've come to realize is spirituality is just connection to other.
mm,
Do you know what I mean? Connection to other, connection to all.
yeah.
Like for
Mm,
example, when I see you as myself, like I connect to how I would want to treat myself and things like
hmm
that. So it makes a deeper connection. So it makes it easier because when we think about, like for example, for me, when I think about spirituality, it's connection to life and God and sort of consciousness is how I like to see it.
mm, yeah.
Do you,
Okay.
do you know what I mean? So, like for
Sure.
example, any belief. So, like what I've come to realize throughout my time is that all paths are the right path.
Mm,
Like, for example, if someone wants to believe the devil in this life is, their God, like it doesn't change the fact that like the devil is God. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
everything is God or however we perceive God to be.
Mm, it's
So
your
it's
own
sort of
personal.
like, yeah, if you if you come to that understanding, I've found that like it doesn't matter what other people believe because even if we're incorrect in life and we live a negative life, like it doesn't change that like life is still positive, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah. How have you been throughout your life on spirituality? Like, have you had
Oh
many experiences in life?
no, just a few, but he would not. When I went, like I said, my nana was a minister, but
Mm,
I got brought up by my parents and my dad,
mm,
particularly being an atheist. He didn't believe in none of that crap.
yeah.
So it was like so we never. But yeah, I've always had a knowing that everything's going to be okay and everything's going to can work out the way it should. But
Yeah.
when I had my major motorbike accident, it sort of come alive,
Hmm.
awake, because Nana used to come up and see me every day, and then one day she didn't. She come up and she said, "Oh, but I came up in spirit," and I went, "Oh yeah, okay." But then she proceeded to explain
Hmm.
two of my friends that she'd never ever met, down to the tattoos and the clothing they
Yeah.
were wearing. I think even if she'd asked the nurses, they wouldn't have explained in that sort of detail.
Mm.
So I thought, okay, there's got to be something in this. So when I was able to hobble around and on a walking stick and get into it,
Mm-hmm.
I went along and snuck into the back of her church and sat down the back. Well, three
Mm.
people in the back and three psychics got up and gave me a reading.
Oh, wow.
And, when I, at the end of the meeting, I walked down and, "Hi, Nana," they can gave her a big cut on, because everybody's looking at me because I'm this long haired,
Mm.
tattooed ruffian. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
got three readings, and now I'm cuddling the minister. It was like, oh. And she said, "How did you like it?" I said, "Well, you know me, I don't like being the centre of attention, and it's three times I
Mm.
got picked on here." So, and
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
one of them was about to say that this had this little man, and I find out later it's like my grandfather,
Hmm.
my nana's ex-husband, who died. He said to check my car. Well, when I
Mm.
got home, I checked my car, and the steering fucking bolt was like one turn away from being fucking
Off.
undone, unbolted. So it's like if that had come undone while I was fucking traveling down the road at fucking 70, 80 mile an hour, it would have been fucking
Mm.
thing. So yeah, it was like, okay, there's something in this. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
then it was married, children, life, and
Hmm.
never followed through. You can,
Oh, it's sort of like when we understand that all paths are the right paths,
mm,
and like whatever path I choose in life is the destined path for me.
mm,
So it's sort of like however you choose to see sort of like how your life's gone in terms of like your spiritual journey, it's sort of like sometimes we move so far away from it and become so sort of disassociated to it
mm.
because it's actually building like our internal belief. Do
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
So like, yeah, it's one of those things I've found that sort of personal development and spiritual growth really only ever happens like between us
mm,
and like life or God, because
mm,
that's essentially what it is it's that personal connection to life, the personal
mm,
connection to our idea of God or the universe or however you want to see it,
mm,
because all paths are the right path because everyone's speaking about the same thing, just using
mm.
different language to
Yeah,
or categorizations of it.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's what my thing is. Like, you look at all
Mm,
religion, all the
mm.
commandments are basically the same, just in different wording.
Yeah, exactly. And then all the religious texts talk about the same people.
Mm,
Do you know what I
mm,
mean?
yeah,
So like I've come to realize that there's a separation between religious and spiritual. And
mm,
it's simply that religious is man-made constructs or man-made
yeah,
ways to connect spiritually, whereas
mm,
spiritual is just that personal connection,
yeah.
you know?
Mm.
Yeah. It's
So I
a
see
it's a you
I
go.
see on a few of your posts that you have like Viking symbolism behind you.
Oh yeah, yeah, like Celtic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So like for me, for example, for me it's sort of like I've always um been like a bit of a warrior,
Mm,
like and like really what I've been drawn to is an understanding of the spiritual warrior. So
mm,
like how I conceptualize and create meaning and understanding through life is through the old honor codes and things like that,
mm,
because they've always been around. They're a part of what I've come to realize is honor is a part of like human behavior in the sense that like I don't need to, so to speak, attack you especially when we think of the development of like the social groups and things like that and communities, is
Yeah.
sort of like that aspect. So yeah, I've always tried to see it through that, but also understanding consciousness.
Mm.
So like when we understand consciousness, basically consciousness isn't like made up in my mind. It is a frequency that my mind taps into through
Mm-hmm.
quantum microtubuli, and it's through quantum randomness that basically collective consciousness becomes singular consciousness. And the way I like to describe it is sort of like, how you look through a kaleidoscope, I think it's called, and
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
separates the picture. Well, this
Yeah.
takes multiple frequencies and condenses them down.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
so you think about that, and then you think about, for example, quantum randomness. So if quantum randomness creates, for example, consciousness within my mind, then it would be the random aspect and nature of life would be the language of life.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
That's
in a
what
lot of sort of like the ancient cultures, so to speak, like 5,000 years ago, or more hunter-gatherer cultures and traditional cultures, it's more about like this understanding of the flow and the balance between life.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's sort of like this idea that I can cut down a tree without, you know, disrespecting that tree, so to speak,
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
point where then we get mass logging and things like that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's extremism on any fucking level is fucking wrong.
Yeah, exactly. But the other thing is that when we create sacredness in actions, we create actions of sacred actions.
Mm.
So it's like when I care about the action that I take in this life, like it creates a level of sacredness in that action.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like it's sort of like if I have to cut down the tree, like because like if we're
Mm.
thinking about consciousness and all forms of, you know, matter are forms of consciousness in one way, shape, or form, because consciousness is just simply the transference of energy. So, like if we think about our conscious thought,
Mm.
it's not the thought that is created, but it's the transfer of the thought, the firing of the the
Mm.
synaptic pathway that creates sort of like that aspect of conscious awareness.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's sort of like in the action. So like if a tree is a conscious being, it's sort of like I can still cut down the tree, I can still exist in life, I can still live in life. But if I create like rituals or honor or, sacredness in my actions of like taking a moment to sort of like talk to the tree, honor the tree, then cut it down, like I've created a more spiritual sort of connection to the action that I'm taking.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. So there is a reason behind everything. Or yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's all sacredness is that understanding of why, the
Mm.
the bigger meaning behind why I do things. So it's
Okay.
like, for example, if we take a simple thing like a cup of coffee, like I can create the sacredness of having a cup of coffee around the taste, the experience, the aroma. Like this is why I love having a coffee. And if I
Yeah. A
like when
coffee
I
addict.
make a coffee, if I focus on that and connect to that and remind myself of that while I take the action, it makes that action more sacred in my sort of emotional states.
Mm. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
trying to get to that. Like, my coffee machine's pissing me off at the moment. So I
Oh,
bought
so
a
all it
new.
is just choices and decisions. So,
Yeah.
like, for example, if I choose to save, like, and it doesn't have to be like I don't have to love coffee, but if I say I love coffee every time I drink it and I reinforce that, after a certain amount of times, usually about 3 or 4, I start to crave it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, sort of what we realize is that with anything in life that I want, if I make the decision that, for example, I wanted sacredness in my actions, like all I have to do is take the action of focusing in and creating that level of sacredness. And
Mm-hmm.
then if I just take the action at a certain point in time, naturally that will be the way I'm drawn to take actions.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Which is pretty cool because that just shows how malleable it is. So sort of like if I wanted to think positively, like if I just think positively and talk positively, if I do that for long enough, like that'll just be my natural state of being.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
So
that's
it's
it. The
hey,
world's been pretty screwed up at the moment, and it's trying hard to make you not buy into it. And it's like
yeah, yeah.
I don't buy into all these conspiracy theories, but I'm
Mm,
aware of what's going on around me, and because everyone's like, well, why aren't you
mm,
going into it more? And I said, well, because it's all negativity, and I don't want
yeah.
negativity in my life. Again, I'm better off to okay, be aware because
Mm,
being ignorant is silly,
yeah.
but not buying into it so much that it consumes people, which some of it
Mm.
does.
And that's actually one of the things that I realized is that we are the ones that construct our reality, sort of like you mentioned there about like, I don't want to have negative in my life and
Mm,
negativity. I
mm,
want to have better and positive. And that's a funny thing is that you're the one that creates the positive and the negative.
mm-hmm,
So it's not to say that other people, for example, like when people talk about conspiracies and they get emotionally worked up and they get angry and frustrated, like it does create an energetic state within the environment
mm,
of that and can influence you. But it's also like if you don't sort of like identify those things as being negative and you see the positive in them, so to
mm,
speak. So, like, if we thought about it like pain, it's like I can see pain as being something that is diminishing me and sort of draining me of all my energy and reserves, or I can see pain as growth. So I can see pain as being me breaking the limitations and barriers of my muscles.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I've learned to deal with pain. It's one of my things.
Mm,
After a motorbike accident, I live
yeah.
with it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's sort of like it's one of those things if you're upset about having to live with it, it puts you in a negative mind state. Whereas
Yeah,
there's a
no, I
certain
just
point
accept
in
it.
time the contentment sets in of this is just
Mm,
how it is. And it's sort of like that reset to reset expectations.
yeah, yeah. I've just accepted it. It's part of my life now. I've got to work around it. So it's just
Yeah. Another thing you can do is you can see joy in it.
yeah,
Like
yeah. Okay. Mm,
so like to see joy in it is just what we're doing is behavioral conditioning. So, like, it's sort of like if I tell myself, I love this feeling of pain, I love this feeling of pain, I love this feeling of pain every time I'm in it.
mm,
So, like, I did a lot of this preparation just in sort of like personal survival training and things like
mm,
that. But
mm.
I have a sort of a game that I play or a little challenge, and it's to walk barefoot on stones, like on stony
Yeah,
roads
yeah,
and to march and to sort of stomp your feet down with force. And
yeah.
the whole point
Okay.
is that every step is going to feel just as painful as the last.
Mm,
And it's sort of like knowing that, are you still going to run the course? Do you
mm.
know what I mean?
Yeah, I walk around bare feet most of the time.
Yeah, yeah.
I get, I get shit because I got turned up again yesterday. Yesterday I got turned up because I'm a snake
Mm.
relocator.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
My job is relocating snakes, and I turned up the other day with a job. Of, oh, look at you, got your safety boots on as usual, Claude. It's like, yeah, well, if they're going to bite me, they're going to bite me. It's like,
Yeah. The
and
safety
I don't.
boots are the reaction speed and time.
Yeah, yeah, I don't see myself getting bitten by a snake, because I was born a
Nah.
year I was born the year of the snake. I've got an affinity to them, so I can,
Yeah, yeah.
and you can read them.
And
They can
and do you sort of see just with that, it's sort of like you're sort of able to construct and change your reality because it's
mm.
sort of like I don't even see the snakes as being like wanting or needing to harm me. So
No,
it's
well,
sort of
they
like
don't.
when you move through it, you can move through it with more focus and attention because there's no fear.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they don't want to hurt us. They're just
No.
freaking. They're out to protect themselves, and they can. If something bigger than me was going to freaking threaten me
Mm.
too, I'd freaking come out fighting too.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Like I used to, as a kid, I would go camping in the bush and stuff like that. And one day we were walking as kids, and my friend put his hand on my chest and said, like, don't put your foot down because there was a big king brown under my foot. I was mid-step.
Okay. Mm,
And literally we just stood there and it sort of continued on its way and sort of,
mm.
just went off. Like,
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? If you just
yeah, I know
leave it be and
exactly.
you're not a threat.
No, and that's it. I get all these stories because I'm a snake catcher. Oh, I've had one
Mm,
chase me. Da, da, da. It's like, no, you just crossed its path when it was again. Over there was where its safe spot was, where it
mm,
knows safety is, and it's wanted to get back to its safe spot. You just happened to
yeah.
be in the path. If you'd come from the other side, it would have been running away from you. So again, it's
Yeah, yeah,
perception, people's
yeah,
perception.
exactly. And do you sort of see within yourself how you create a level of sacredness around the snakes?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
They
it's sort
can.
of like in everything in life, it's that sort of that want or need to actually care enough to go deeper into it,
Mm-hmm.
sort of
Okay.
a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because it's one of those aspects of life that like especially what I've found with personal development and spirituality and all of that is like we do this in our day-to-day life. It's just we're not consciously aware of it. Do you
Mm.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, like, for example, like if you seek happiness in life, it's like your life isn't 100% void of happiness and you've never experienced it. It's like I've experienced it in points in life. It's like I already know exactly how to be happy. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
But the downside is that we put a lot of our emphasis on the external environment.
Yeah.
So sort of like if we brought it back to the snakes, it's like you move through the snakes because you realize that it's only you and how you act in the environment that's going to either cause the snake to attack you or cause the snake to be
Mm.
peaceful.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's sort of
Yeah.
that understanding that I'm not in control of the situation, but I'm in
Yeah.
control of
Well,
myself in the situation.
they read you as much as other people read them.
Yeah.
They can, mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
exactly.
I've had people come around here with my when I had my pet snakes, and
Mm,
people who are confident with the snakes were thing, but people who weren't the snakes, you could feel that you could see their energy change with people that weren't confident with them. They can
yeah.
they picked up on that fear, and they can.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And do you sort of see how you already embody a lot of these personal development and spiritual aspects of
Yeah.
life and it's sort of just reverse engineering sort of how you sort of did that and then applying it to all aspects of life
Okay. Yeah.
or even just to the aspects of life that you want more of. So like for example, if we took the pain and it's like sort of understanding and creating the sacredness in the pain, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak.
Yeah.
And it's not so much in the pain itself, because the less awareness or the less conscious awareness your brain has of the pain, the lower the pain, because the pain is just a sensory
Yeah.
response.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like if I create sacredness in that. So, for example, for me, I love the pain because the pain is an opportunity for me to see what I can endure.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's sort of it's changing that because, for example, when I was growing up, like I grew really fast in a short
Mm-hmm.
duration. So I had really bad growing pains where for a couple of years, every day it felt like my calves were tearing themselves apart.
Yeah,
I
okay,
had
yeah, yeah.
immense pain, and like if I wanted to run, I had to run through agonizing pain until my Achilles tendons warmed up because they were so
Mm,
stiff.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it led me to believe that like, well, what I found is that in anything, if you sit in it for long enough, so like for example, if I run through the pain of like sort of my Achilles tendons loosening up, it's sort of like at a certain point in time, that pain stops bothering me.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? And
yeah.
it's sort of like, so it's sort of like if I can sit with the pain, so to speak, long enough and not like sort of respond to it or react to it and sort of just say, look, I get you with me. Like
Mm,
we're changing the tune on the record. Like
yeah,
I'm in pain, but I'm still doing this. I'm still doing that. I'm
yeah.
gonna. So like mine was always in pain. Every time I felt pain, I forced myself to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
And at a certain point in time, sort of like Pavlov's dog, the experiment with conditioning the dog with the meat and the bell. So he conditioned it with the meat and the bell. Every time he rang the bell, he gave the dog a steak. And at a
Okay.
certain point in time, he stopped bringing the meat and he rang the bell. And the dog would still salivate because it had been sort of like
Yeah,
ingrained in the dog that the bell meant meat.
yeah. You can do
So,
that.
hmm,
I did that with snakes. Again, when
yeah,
I handed when I got rid of my snakes, I handed them on to other people that were going to
hmm,
use them at exhibitions and things like that.
hmm,
And I said, look, when I open up the cage, the enclosure, I said, if I open it
hmm,
up on the left, they know that I'm taking them out to clean the cage and things like that. But if I open
hmm,
up from the right, that's the side that I feed them. So as soon as I open up the right hand side, the snakes were on full alert, like
yeah,
there's food coming. So it's
yeah,
conditioning. It's
yeah, exactly.
mm,
And it's just that it's that thing of like reminding ourselves that it's that. So like anything that I want to like behavior I want to change or create within myself, or anything that I want to feel within myself can be triggered through behavioral conditioning.
yeah,
But then there's also like the physical stimulation and sensation. So things like, for example, if I smile, like the association my body and brain already has to smiling is as soon as I smile, it releases like the serotonin and all of that, the
yeah,
biochemical responses. Yeah. So
yeah,
when we
and
understand that, we're now able to use like physical things. So, like for example, if I wanted to feel energized, if I start running back and forth, if I do
mm,
that for 30, 40 seconds, my heart rate's going to be up. I'm going to be feeling energized and all of that.
mm, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So it's sort of like when we understand that, it's like in life, if I want to feel more spiritually connected to life, all I have to do is take the actions of sort of connecting to aspects of life and
yeah,
however I want to do that. If it's like, for example, if I connect with life and nature, and it's sort of like that is my idea of God. So, like for example, for me, trees and stars are what I envision God to be.
mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? So it's
Sort
sort of
of.
like
Mm,
so however you want to see a God, it's sort of like the conceptualization of God of the universe is based around sort of your contemporary understanding, so
yeah,
to speak. So it's like, for example, you could see God as like snakes and things like that, or as nature. And it's sort of like it's an easy way to tap into because you're already sort of engaged in it. So like I love hiking and nature and I love camping out at night. So
yeah.
like if God to me is the trees and the stars, then it's easy for me to be around God because I enjoy being out hiking through the forest and out camping at night.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so it makes it super easy to sort of practice my version of spiritual beliefs because I'm just taking the actions that I really, really enjoy.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
so like one of them could be like connecting to snakes on a
Mm.
more sort of like how when you look into the eyes of all conscious beings, like you see a consciousness behind it, like they have mannerisms and patterns. They're not sort of like robots, so to speak.
No. 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 Mm.
Yeah. It's one of
Yeah.
the funny things, especially with snakes, unless you own snakes, you don't really realize they have personalities.
No. Well, that's it, and that's my wife. We always used to say, I don't like them because they've got no
Mm.
personality. You can't see what they're thinking or anything. I said, well, you can when you're around them often enough. You can.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's sort of like, yeah, that's how you can sort of like practice throughout your life is just remembering back to that to sort of like the depths because all you're using is like for example snakes or like interactions with nature or the external environment, you're just using it as a marker to sort of measure the depth. And it's
Yeah.
sort of like it helps you realize that life is more deep. So for me it's like sort of understanding like the ancestral ways
Hmm.
before like sort of we started constructing societies and things like that because that's where like I personally feel is like what life or the epitome of life was meant to be.
Oh, yeah. If we could get back to like in the earlier times of simplicity, we'd be back a lot better
Mm.
off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like for example, how do you feel when you're just around the snakes?
Mm. Alive.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's sort
Mm.
of like it's that contentment and peace within life.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's one of those things that we sort of have changed up about ourselves is
Mm.
always seeking like external validation of this is the right
Yeah.
path.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's sort of like all the answers that you seek and all the questions that you have only ever exist within you.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? Other people
Yeah.
can show you like reflections of yourself, but they can't tell you who you are because it's sort of like no one will ever see you as you.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, just because like you're with your thoughts every like 24 hours a day, so to speak. Do you know what I
Mm.
mean? Like you'd have to
Yeah.
talk all day, every day to ever explain to someone like the volume of thoughts that you've had. But it gets into this understanding of that comes from like Zen and Tao of you don't need to know, like there's nothing to know
Mm.
because the self doesn't exist.
Mm.
So like for example, if I wanted to like understand and know about snakes, I have to know every aspect and every facet of them and every way in which they could ever behave and have ever behaved simultaneously. But
Mm.
it's like if I let go to the need to know everything and I just like am present in the environment with them, all I have to do is look and I know. Do
Mm.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Cool.
it's sort of like bringing this sort of thought across to everything now. It's sort of like in life, as soon as I decide what I want, once I take action to go towards it, I don't need to know everything about it because I sort of just will know along the way. So it's
Mm-hmm.
sort of like I achieve everything because it's not about following the path for a certain period of time. If I'm on the path for 10 seconds, if I'm on the path for 10 years, it's the same point in time.
Yeah. Well,
Because,
that's it.
like, yeah, because, like, and the easy way to see this is that, like, the perspective or the perception of reality and life and time that we have is only here and now, this present moment. And it's an eternity of this present moment that we experience. Like, for example, tomorrow I will experience as right now today. yesterday I experienced as right now and today.
Mm.
So it's sort of like the Tao and the Zen philosophies have this understanding that like the present, the past, and the future all exist simultaneously in each moment. So, but it's this other understanding that I can only perceive through this moment. So when I change my language from being past tense or future tense, like it's only the present. Do you sort of get it? Like in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
present moment is all I have to create, embody, and be who I want
yeah,
to be in this life, or what I want to experience in this life.
yeah.
So
We can't
yeah.
change our past, so
Hey.
we can't change our past, so we just have to we can move from here on. Let that dwell on.
Yeah, exactly. Like the past is what is you, like, so to speak. It's like if everything didn't happen exactly how it happened in your life, would you be the same person today? Do you
No,
know what I mean?
yeah, no, you wouldn't be.
No. So it's sort
Mm.
of like if I'm looking at life and time being a linear path, it's sort of like, I'm at this point in life and I've had this much time of life to experience life, and now I have this much time left.
Mm.
But it's like in every moment exists all of time and space.
Mm.
So it's sort of like it's a bit of a hard one to explain, but basically, like my my life can be felt to be as short as possible, or it can be felt to be as long as I want. I can draw out every moment and
Mm.
make my life sort of expanded in that sense.
Yeah,
Or I can rush through life. And an easy way to see this is people who like the process of what they do to achieve what they want against people who just want the results,
yeah.
because it's sort of like the result of life is death. So it's sort of like if I value the results in everything that I do in life, like to be congruent with who I am, I have to want death now as well. Do you
Mm.
know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's never ever really worried me, but
Yeah.
can that's
So what I realized was if I focus in on enjoying the journey
mm.
over the results that I get in anything that I do, it creates that space that really
Mm.
allows me to enjoy taking the time to do it.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Mm.
it's just in sort of creating this that we're able to really see if I really value the actions that I take and I create sacredness within those actions are going to connect me to life.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Mm.
mean? And it's across anything.
Reality.
Yeah, and there's nothing negative that could ever happen to me in life,
Mm.
because like if I'm being living and doing everything that I want in life, like I'm living my best life, my most enjoyable life and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if there is such thing as negativity, then that's just really just lessons you need to learn anyway.
Yeah, so it's sort of like this. How I think about it is like think of anger and aggression and violence. They are negative in a sense that like they put us into a state of being that is stressful,
Mm.
that causes stress within us. But that's only if we determine that they are negative. So, like
Mm.
for example, if you were out in the wilderness and a pack of wolves set on you, like being aggressive and angry and violent is very, very beneficial and positive in your life. Do you know
Mm.
what I mean? If you have
Yeah.
to defend yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you always see it as being negative, then you're only ever allowed or allowing yourself to feel negative emotions while you're in that space. So it's sort of like you can always feel positive emotions in those spaces. So
Hmm.
like, for example, if you are happy about it, and it's sort of like creating the separation between if I feel a negative emotion and if I behave and act on it. So like if we create separation from that to where I just don't, like if I think and feel someone's a dickhead, I don't just yell at you're a dickhead. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like if I create that separation, now I'm able to look at both parts of it. So like what is
Think
the
more
emotional state I want to feel in this life and this experience? And then what is needed for me to move through life?
yeah. So you figure out why he's being a dickhead and what's triggered him to be that person.
Oh, no, no, he's free to be a dickhead. You're the one that's saying that he is one. Do you
Mm.
sort of get it? Like you're the
Oh,
one
yeah,
saying that
yeah,
his actions are negative
yeah.
and
Mm.
creating the space for like negativity to exist. So it's
Hmm.
sort of like he's acting how he's acting and it doesn't really influence or affect you. Like, so for example, if other people, like, let's take conspiracy theories, because people get very heated and passionate around these, and they can become very emotionally a bit unstable in the sense that you can get angry, you can yell
Mm.
and shout. It's sort of like if someone's behaving like that, nothing's really happening to you. Do you know
No,
what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so it's sort of like creating that separation between like
yeah.
if someone punches me in the face, that's a physical action taken towards
Mm.
me. But it's
Mm.
sort of like if someone's just like in a negative headspace, like
Yeah,
I don't have to be in that headspace just because
no,
they are.
yeah, true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
We-
like for example, like we can never stop people acting and being who they want to be in this life. So if we go around saying, this is negative behavior, I don't like it in my life, this is positive behavior that I want in my life, like I'm creating and going around and trying to categorize everyone in my life to say, you're a negative person or you're a positive person.
mm.
So like if I give like if I give up the idea that negative exists and everything is positive, it's sort of like when I'm moving through life, should you do something that I don't like, that I don't enjoy that behavior, I just say like, hey man, I don't enjoy this behavior. Like you're free to do what you want. Nothing negative has happened, but I'm just not going to associate with this behavior, so to speak.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? Like, for
Yep,
example,
yep.
if it was like every time you got
Don't
into a
get too into
discussion,
it.
let's say on COVID, it
Mm.
draw down into a hostile sort of argument of attacking back and forth. It's sort of like I don't want to do that. Like you're free for your beliefs of COVID.
Yeah,
I'm free for my beliefs. Like
yeah.
I'm not trying to be right in the situation
No.
because being right is irrelevant in all
Well, that
situations.
like I saw from that side of it, it's like
Hmm.
I was on the anti-vaccine side of it all because
Hmm.
of my own beliefs. But I said, it's
Yeah.
your choice, and what I decided it shouldn't hurt you. But it's
Hmm.
like it was a personal thing, and everybody had to accept that. But a lot of
Yeah.
people put it was like you were wrong. I said, well, it's not wrong if it's right for them in that moment. It's
Yeah, exactly.
they can,
And it's sort of like you being right or you being wrong doesn't really affect them.
yeah.
Do
And
you
like
know
I
what I
said,
mean?
everybody's saying, "Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist." I said, well, in this case, I'd love to be fucking proven wrong.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah,
love to be proven wrong. Prove me wrong. I'd love to make a thing, but it's like, yeah, like I said, I didn't force my beliefs on anybody. I just did what I had to do, looked after
yeah,
my family, and that's it.
yeah, exactly. Because it's sort of like we all have our own beliefs, but it's sort of like no belief outweighs, like my belief doesn't outweigh your belief doesn't outweigh my belief. But to
No,
you, your belief outweighs all beliefs because
mm,
it's only you that lives with the consequence of your beliefs.
yeah, yeah,
Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? So, like, for example, if you take the vaccine, like, if you took the vaccine against your beliefs and then you got sick, like, Do you know what I mean? Like you're the one that has to live with it, not anyone else, so
That's
to
it.
speak.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's
So it's
watching it.
yeah, exactly. So it's really important to understand this across everything now. So your
Okay.
belief on who God is to you is the most important thing to you. It doesn't
Mm,
matter to anyone else because only you have to live with it. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? So, like, for example, if you were to shut off a whole aspect of life and just say it doesn't exist, like, only you have to live with that. Do you know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it sort of takes the pressure away when it doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. Like,
Mm,
whatever you choose to believe becomes your reality. So, like, for example, if you choose to believe that being kind to other people and sort of in conversations not adding to, like, let's say, an argument, it's sort of like if I embody that through my life, like, and I be that way, it's not about if I'm right, if I'm wrong, if they do this, if they do that, but if I'm that person, like, the situation's going to be the best I think it would be.
mm,
Do you know what I mean? So we're pouring into the environment what we want in life and in others, rather than trying to dictate and dominate what we
mm,
want.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's sort of like embodying um, your beliefs and things like that. So it's sort of like if you stand in your belief and you don't put it on anyone else, and you just say this is what I believe, then it's sort of like nothing negative can happen to you because
Mm,
you're not, like, sort of trying to dominate or control the situation. If anything, more positive things are going to happen to you because you're not being perceived as controlling and dominating the situation.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, no. So it's a lot of fun
mm. Yeah,
and
well, like I
sort of,
said,
yeah, you
I'm
go.
sort of looking, I'm sort of looking at like and trying to like and open up that side of me and where it comes from. Like
Yeah.
um, I've um, ordered a set of runes because
Hmm.
I've got my nana who was the minister of that spiritualist church. She
Yeah.
was an old she was an Olsen from Oslo, so they can I've got
Oh
that
wow.
I've got that Viking blood there, so they can
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
I'm drawn to that. But
Oh, definitely. And you'll find that, like, that's one of the things with our ancestors and ancestry is that, like, naturally we're going to be drawn to them, and it's sort of
mm,
like that's how you can sort of see that spiritual aspect of it, or that connection
yeah,
to all, is that, like, for example, like, I come from Celtic ancestry, so forests and things like that, like, I'm drawn to the forest. When I'm in the forest, it feels like home.
yeah, it does for me too because I got brought up with like
Mm,
a hunter gatherer, so we were in the bush all the time. So to me, but
yeah.
wildlife. I'm surrounded. I live in a place called Coranda, which is in the
Mm,
middle of a rainforest. It's a little
yep,
village
yep.
in the middle of a rainforest, which is older than the Amazon. It's
Oh,
so it's again, it's people when you say, "Oh, I live in a rainforest," they think, "Oh, Amazon," but this is
yeah.
older than the Amazon. It's amazing. Again,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's sort of like that gratitude and appreciation just for what it is
mm,
sort of is a way to worship and connect to it.
yeah,
Being out and around it is a way to worship and connect to it. But it's sort of like you'll find that, like, these connections that we have to things in life, if we choose to say that they are nothing, then they can be nothing. If we choose to say that they are something, they become something.
mm,
So when we want to connect, like, what I've found is when I wanted to connect and find out who I was and sort of who I am, I really found connecting to my ancestors and
mm.
understanding. And we don't need anything for that. All we
No,
need to do is close our eyes and start talking.
mm,
Do you sort
yeah,
of, and it's a funny thing, like, if we get on to just quickly talking to God, talking to ancestors, all of that, like, if you want to talk to someone who's passed, you have a conversation with yourself and you do both dialogues. And then you listen to your emotions and your heart and how you feel in that conversation, and it'll sort of tell you the important information in it. And
Okay.
it's a good way. And the way you can see it is like, I'm having a conversation with myself, or I'm having a conversation with a past loved one, I'm having a conversation with my ancestors, or I'm having a conversation with God or whatever, because simultaneously it is all those things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not one or the other. So if I'm talking to myself walking down the street, just sort of lost in thought about something that I'm doing, like, I am talking to God, I am talking to my ancestors, I'm talking to everyone. And that's
Mm.
sort of like that process of communicating and connecting is how we access, ideas and things like that. Sort of like when you ponder on something.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yep.
it's a pretty fun thing when you get into it, because like pretty much like the only sort of compass that you have is your emotions, or how you feel, like the reaction you have within your heart when certain information or certain things come to you. So like if you think about like sort of like the Nordic ancestry, it's like if you feel something in your heart when you're thinking about it, like that's the connection, because
Mm.
our heart is how we connect to others, our thoughts.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which is pretty fun, because it's sort of like in my subconscious mind is my connection to consciousness
Mm.
through quantum microtubuli,
Mm.
and the subconscious mind controls the emotions and sort of like my emotional states and a lot of my evolutionary traits and things like that, like survival nature and stuff like that. And it also controls the heart. So the access to the heart is through the subconscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for example, through feeling my emotional states, am I connected to my heart?
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, does that sort of make sense?
Yep. Yep. It does.
Yeah. And it's sort of like, because you think about it, like my intuition is my heart.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? And it always gives us like information beforehand. So like I have a funny thing that like if I'm around people and they have negative or like want to take harm against me or do something against me, like I'll already know or get the feeling that that's the intention before any action's taken.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel that.
Mm. And it's one of those things that like the point isn't to be right or wrong. It's sort of like
Mm.
if I feel that, it is
Yeah.
real.
Mm. But
Yeah.
you're a, yeah, forearmed is forewarned, or forewarned is forearmed.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's all it is just sort of like what I found was getting into spirituality is just a journey of sort of like self
Yeah. Well,
and
that's it.
like mm,
That's what I'm sort of at now. It's like at 59 years old, I need to sort of go, okay, like you say, I've only got X amount of time left. I need to do this, and follow my path, which is
yeah,
like up until now, it's been following everybody's path, looking
yeah,
after the kids and things like that. Now it's sort of me.
yeah, exactly. And now it's sort of like, who do I want to be in this life?
Mm.
What do I want to experience? What do
Mm.
I want to do? And then it's
And
sort of
what I
like,
leave behind,
yeah, definitely,
legacy will.
definitely. That's a fun thing as well. Is sort of like, because many people they live for legacy in the wrong way,
Mm.
but
Mm.
legacy is like a gift. It's
Yeah.
not like a sort of like an entitlement, so to speak.
No. No.
So it's sort of like if you think about that sentence of what I can leave behind, like
Mm.
out of everything in life, like let's say you could do for your family, what would be the number one thing you could give them for legacy that would carry on how they they think and feel about you into the future and sort of set them up.
Yeah. I wanted. I'm
Well, it's
trying
sort
to.
of like your presence.
Yeah, yeah. I was trying to teach them the compassion and like and all that
Yeah,
sort of. And fortunately,
yeah,
fortunately some of them have gone to material at the moment, but eventually they'll come around to
yeah.
getting that materialistic things is not.
Because the material is the spiritual, because
Mm,
they're not one or the other, like they're
mm,
both simultaneously.
mm,
So it's like when people go to the material, it's like it's easy for us to create divides and separations between they're sort of on this path and I'm on this path, but
mm.
all paths end in the same sort of destination, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
So
they end
it's
up
mm,
because when growing up with them, we were poor. We were robbing Peter to pay Paul and things like that. So
mm,
now they've gone to the other extreme of rather than
yeah,
have everything sort of thing. So,
yeah, and it does come from those, I guess, cravings to feel like internal things. And that's a
mm,
really important thing that you can sort of teach them, is that while the material things are good, they sort of don't fulfill who you are as a
mm,
person.
mm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's sort of like the only thing is you cannot control the environment. So you can't control the environment of how they think and feel. The only thing you can control is how you show up into the environment and what
Mm,
you put into the environment. So it's
mm,
sort of like this idea of like embodying and becoming the example that you wish to instill in other people.
mm,
Do you know what I mean? So like even if they are, so to speak, materialistic and things like that, like if you show up every day sort of showing them a different way, at a certain
mm.
point in time, they may become interested in going down that path rather
Well,
than if you try to tell them this is the right path to go.
eventually you do.
Mm,
Mm, we can.
yeah, because it's sort of like if you think back to your journey at their age and things like that,
Mm.
it's
Yeah,
it's a
see, I was
really good way to get perspective.
the opposite. I didn't want anything. I had my
Hmm.
motorbike. I had my motorbike and my freedom. Again, Dad was the one wanting, oh, you should be buying a house. You should be doing this. You should be doing that. I was like, why do I want to do that for?
Yeah.
What good is that to me?
Well, you had everything that you needed.
Yeah, yeah, I did.
Freedom
I had
and
my,
ability.
yeah, yeah. But then as life changed, I ended up buying a house, and I bought a few houses over the time. But
Mm,
it wasn't for me. It was for the kids. So the kids had somewhere
yeah.
they can permanent, so to speak. That he,
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And it sort of it gives that idea of like meaning external to ourselves.
mm,
So it's sort of like I should never live for other people,
mm,
like because it's sort of like it's like if we take that idea of the houses and buying them for them, it's sort of like you didn't buy them for them, you bought them for the feeling that providing them gave.
yeah, yeah,
Do,
yeah.
do you know what I mean?
It
And
was
like
more
nothing can
security
ever
for them.
take that.
Yeah, so it was more for security for them than myself
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
I
the,
can live.
the feeling
I
of
can
being able to provide
live,
that security.
yeah, I can live out underneath the stars. I'm happy.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So like if you think about it moving forward, it's not about the result or the action, but it's more about like your sort of experience doing it. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, for example, if you think about like connecting with family, but on a deeper level that's more than material, it's sort of like you're looking for the experience that you personally feel while doing that. So it makes it easy to create markers to be able to understand what behaviors and actions. So it might be, like a family barbecue. It might be, spending time, just sitting down watching a movie or whatever it may be. and you find the ones that make you feel the happiest and most joyful that you enjoy, and then they become like what you sort of, so to speak, seek
Mm.
to provide service in.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah, because it's
that's
sort of
it.
like service is found, I've found that service like creates fulfillment, and
Mm.
sort of honor creates love. So it's sort of like, if you honor who you want to be in this life, you create such self-love within yourself about who you are.
Mm.
And then it's sort of like, if you serve other people, it puts meaning or reason behind why you exist.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's sort of like, if we do selfish service, which is slightly different to selfless service, it's like, selfish service is, I serve you how I want to sort of serve you. I provide how I want to provide. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
if you would like me to do something for you, I don't mind. But it's
Mm.
like, how I give to you is how I give to you, how I've decided to, because it makes me feel good. Like I'm not doing it to get something from you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because yeah, you find it with a lot of like, especially when it gets closer to retirees, that they've built up these nest eggs and they want to do something for their children as sort of like a passing gift. But it's sort of like, it always is through the lens of like, I'm going to do this for you, and you're going to do something for me. Like, I'll give you the money, but you have to invest it wisely and use it wisely. And it
Mm.
sort of always has pressure on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's sort of like, how do you give freely everything, like, of wealth that you have for your family, for sort of, legacy and generation?
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? Because it's more than just, like, for example, finance, and
Mm.
it's more than just time. It's, care, all these different, like, sort of aspects. Like, it can be a simple thing. Like, for example, my granddad was a very, very narcissistic person, and a dickhead. If he didn't agree with you, he'd tell you you're a fucking idiot and don't fucking talk to him.
Mm.
And that's sort of how he wanted to, I guess, live his life and be remembered. So it's sort of like, we can sometimes live out the remainder of our life with our family being pissed off and stuck in our own ways and things like that. Or it's like, we can
Right.
create sort of the sort of celebration aspect of our life.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And grow. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's sort of like, the destination isn't the like end goal. The end goal is the journey and
Yeah.
enjoying it. So
Mm.
it's sort of like, if you think about family, it's like, how I feel when I'm around my family is more important than being around my family. Do
Mm.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not just there as like I'm checking off a box of, I've done this week. It's like, I'm there with everything I have, because it's in the action of me giving everything I have in this moment that I find the joy and happiness or fulfillment in my life.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. They like that.
Yeah. I found that it makes it easier to sort of reshape your focus from being concerned of, like, for example, like, worrying about everything being perfect. And now it's like, even if it's not perfect, I'm going to make it perfect. Do you
Mm.
know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and that's not to say like I'm going to make everything perfect. Is that I'm going to be here putting in all I have, which is going to overcompensate whatever it could have been.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Cool. That's great. I
Oh, no
can
problem.
I can relate with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, the funny thing I've realized in life is that, like, it doesn't take money. It doesn't take, to truly get what we want in life. like it's not really so much the material gain,
Mm.
because like, for example, even if you showed up to your family and things like that, and then they still sour and things like that, like you get to hold honor in, I showed up.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, money's never been a motivator for me, but it does
No.
make it does make freedom a little bit easier.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. But it's not to say that money is a bad thing. It's more
No, no,
about, it's more about that money isn't the primary focus, because when
no.
money becomes the primary focus, we lose compassion, we lose sort of empathy for others and all of this.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah,
it.
no.
Yeah, that's yeah. I can sort of yeah, like I said, I try not to worry about money too much, but it does pay, especially when
Hmm.
you've got a family and need things, and at the
Oh,
moment,
definitely. But it's sort of like, instead of focusing on the end result of money, it's sort of like focus on the activity that creates money.
yeah,
Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
mm, yeah. Well, at the moment, it's sort of I can trying to I can manifest it. I can because my body is starting to
Mm,
deteriorate because of all the motorbike accidents, and so
mm,
the job I've got at the moment is pretty okay. I can deal
hmm.
with it, but I'm starting to feel the thing. So I need to sort of look at another plan of attack against thing. But it's like,
There's many
yeah,
things you could do.
mm,
Sort of, like if I were to ask you, like if you could serve your local community or those around you, how would you serve them?
mm, by helping the people that are in need, I can more than anything,
Yeah, yeah,
can talking to them and just being
yeah,
that sounding board, I suppose. We can doing what you're doing here, sort of thing. We can,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, exactly. And that's something you can do.
mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because it's sort of like, if I'm willing to do that, and that's what I would do if failure wasn't an option and all of this, then it's sort of like if I do that, I'm always going to be happy with myself for doing it.
mm,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
And it's sort
yeah,
of like, if I give, because it's sort of these understandings that like, with like finance, financial wealth and things like that, it's a state of flow.
mm,
So like money isn't the value, but the transference of money, or the purchasing, the commerce aspect of money.
yeah,
Because like the money itself is just paper and things like that. It doesn't really hold any value
no,
unless it's
no,
in flow.
yeah,
So it's sort of like, how could you create ways of channeling money to you through taking actions of sort of service that you want to take, that you would take, within
mm,
your own life, in service to others. And an easy way is just to sort of talk through personal experience, because we have no other experience outside of
yeah,
personal experience.
yeah,
So it's sort of like, through personal experience and personal understanding, we can sort of share, like, think for example, how many young blokes would want to know about like bike mechanics and things like that, and, setting up for different ventures or adventures and things like that. So it's sort of like, you're able to share that with them. You're able to share, life lessons and things like that with other people.
mm,
Sort of, you can share your spiritual journey with other people as
yeah,
well,
mm,
of discovering and things like that. And it's sort of like, when you get into that mindset of, it's not so much about what I need to get out of it, but it's more about what I can like sort of give.
mm,
Because as a result, like everything I need will be provided.
mm,
So, like, for example, If we said, like, for example, that you need $1,000 a week to cover operational expenses, then it's sort of like, what would I have to do to cover that? So I could get 10 people to give me $100. I could get 20 people to give me $50. I could get 100 people to give me $10. So, like, it's sort of like, however I need to create or survive, so to speak, or I need to sort of cover my expenses. Because that's, if you think about selfish service, it's sort of like, I'm going to serve you, but I'm not going to serve you at the detriment of me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's sort of like many different ways in which you could fund like how you want to sort of experience and live your life. Like things like if you were into metal work and things like that, doing metal work, if you're into gardening, growing veggies, selling veggies. Do you sort of
Mm.
know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It's creating that thing. It's
Yeah.
knowing that you'll have enough to deal with what you like. That can.
Yeah, yeah. And that's always the hardest part because
Mm,
usually at the start there is the sort of like the growth phase. If you ever think about like learning to ride a bike,
mm.
like we didn't start knowing how to ride a bike, so you got to
You
fall
guys
and all of
need.
that. So it's sort of like if you think about it like this, how could you sort of minimize potential, so to speak, risk and
Mm,
maximize your ability to produce it or to
mm,
achieve the result? So one way is by sort of not worrying about the outcome and then just doing,
mm,
because it's sort of like we can plan and sort of prepare and all of this, but like you would know, if you think back to your first sort of cross country bike trip that you did, like all the planning that you did before that sort of goes out the window when you start doing it because you
mm.
haven't accounted for all these different things that could go wrong.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like if you take out the need to think, plan, and strategize, and then you just do, naturally you'll find the rhythm.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's sort of like, for example, if you took talking to people and interacting and helping people, like if you start doing that, the more you do that, the better you'll be.
Mm,
Do you know what I mean? Like you don't
yeah.
have to be good at it in the beginning, but
Mm,
naturally, anything that I naturally like and enjoy, I naturally will move to it. So it becomes easier to do.
mhm.
Like if I like football, it's easier to play football than soccer. If I
Yeah.
like soccer, it's easier to play soccer than football just because
Mm,
I have a natural bias towards it.
yeah.
So it's sort of like if I enjoy the feeling and sensation of helping other people, naturally in my life, that is what I would choose to do if I could do anything. Do you know what I
True.
mean? So it takes out all the negative aspects of it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, that's food
Yeah,
for thought.
yeah, yeah.
It's figuring out thing. At the moment, it's like everything's financial because like the houses and
Mm-hmm,
renovations and the thing and
mm-hmm.
finding money for the young fella because he's just at university. He costs us $250 a week to fucking keep him at university, and
Yeah.
now now he's been picked for the Australian World Champs team for in Taekwondo. So he's
Oh
off
wow.
he's off to Italy in October. So we've got to fucking find him money for that too. So it's like it's trying to separate this. Like okay, I
Mm,
need money again, and this job that I've got is fucking it's been a crutch for me for so long and
mm-hmm.
it's so easy and the money's there I can do a thing, but it's not where I want to be. But it's just where I've stuck myself and kept that
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's a vehicle to get me to there sort of thing.
So how would you, if you could make money, how would you want to make money?
I haven't totally thought about that.
Would
It's
you
going
would
to
you want to sell a product? Would you want to sell a service?
Service more than anything. I think they get products. If can, I've done the hospitality thing. I've owned a
Mhm.
cafe, and they can. I just no, I don't want to do that again. Picking, it's just like it's too. As much as I enjoyed the picking people side of it all,
Mhm.
I didn't like the picking the product loss and the things like that.
Yeah.
It's where a store where they
Mm.
can buy clothes and they don't deteriorate and they're still there at the end of the day. You shut the door and it's still there in
Mhm.
the morning. It's different to
Perishables.
hospitality perishable. So it's like,
Mm.
but I
And
can,
what do you currently do now?
I look after a property for a council. I caretake what used to be an old school that the council bought off the
Mm.
state, and now they've demolished half the school and they've just got the library here and things like that.
Yeah.
So when I got
Maybe
here,
maybe transferring that to doing like your own tech caretaking and things like that and property
mm,
management.
yeah, mm,
Because that would be something easy that you would be able to transfer into, even if you just did like consulting, like
mm,
teaching people how to manage larger properties and things like that.
okay, mm,
Yeah, because you've already got like the experience and sort of the knowledge in there to where
mm,
you've been doing it a lot. It's like if you were able to sort of transfer it on the weekends or something like that and do a little
mm,
bit extra. Do you know what I mean? So, like, one
yeah,
thing could be making content about property maintenance and things like that and
mm-hmm,
teaching people. So,
okay,
like,
yeah,
for example, if a young couple wanted to buy their first sort of like hobby farm, it's like, how do you actually maintain it? Do you know what I mean?
mm,
Like,
yeah,
what are the weeds? What are the like the native plants you should look for and all of that?
okay, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And then like you can even have it as, for example, there would be a lot of sort of like retiring farmers or like your small farm blocks
yeah,
where it's sort of like the block's a bit too much work to take care of for the aging like owner.
mm, yeah, yeah. Well,
So
that's it.
sometimes, yeah.
That's become a reality for my parents. Where they just
Mm,
downsized, about 6 years ago from 500 acres down to 10 acres.
mm,
And now I had to go back last year because Dad got sepsis, so
mm,
went back to help and end up being stuck there for 3.5 months in New
yeah.
Zealand in the winter. It just froze my ass off. I wasn't freaking happy
Oh
about
yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
yeah, now they've come to the point of even 10 acres is too much now.
Mm,
So they're just going to lease it out now, and they had a good talk, and they're going to just lease the land out and keep the house, and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
they can. So yeah, they can,
Because
yeah,
yeah, like if you enjoy doing that, like that would
mm,
always be a nice, easy, cool thing that you could do.
mm.
Because it sounds like the current job that you have isn't too sort of like intensive
No,
to
no,
where
yeah, no,
mm,
but it's just maintaining the lawns, and the biggest part is security.
mm,
So, and I've been here. We've been here coming up 19 years. So
yeah,
all the all the local little shitheads know me, and
mm,
I'm this long-haired, tattooed, rough bastard that you don't want to push the boundaries with anyway.
yeah.
I've got a
Because
report.
definitely even up in like Queensland when I was sort of traveling around and stuff like that, there was always issues with, especially with the farms that were slightly closer to the towns, with troublemakers and things like that.
Yeah,
So, like, even offering that as like a service where, I can either maintain or I can offer maintenance and security or
mm,
just maintenance and then like sort of like the Chubb security and things like that, the private security companies, you just
mm,
drive around every 3 hours or something like that and
yeah,
check on it.
yeah. Well, that's where I got this job because
Mm,
the council were paying, but he Chubb to come round, and the kids were going,
yeah,
okay, here he goes, he'll be back in 5 hours. or 4 hours
Yeah.
a week, whatever we like in those times. So that's why they
Mm.
employed me. So I was here all the time. And yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And it really, really makes a difference.
Mm. Oh yeah, and because I got on well with them. And most of the little shitheads around here, a majority indigenous, but a lot
Mm.
of them are white as well. So
Mm.
and once the indigenous realised that I was married to a New Zealand Maori,
Mm.
there I wasn't a racist.
Yeah.
I was on their path, and I was like, "Oh, come on, let's let's get on with life. I have to do my job. If you want to be a shithead, then I have to be a bigger shithead."
Mm. Exactly.
And you can just talk to people, and it's like it all goes back to respect and treating people how you want to be.
Yeah.
And once these kids now, you get the odd
Mm.
ones that come through at 9 or 10, and they're starting to get their peacock feathers
Hmm.
that they want to push the boundaries. And it's like, I'm going to tell
Yeah.
my brother, I'm going to tell my uncle, and you. I said, well, you do that, but bear in mind, I probably kicked their asses 15 years ago, and they'll probably kick your ass for giving me a hard time. And so it's
Yeah.
like this job has become too easy and it's too comfortable now. I need to
Yeah.
get out of that
Yeah.
comfort zone.
It sounds like earning a little bit of extra money would be
Mm.
something fun, but it also sounds like you sort of want to sort of push yourself a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This has just become just okay. I get up, I have to do this, I do this, and do this, and then that's
Yeah.
it. There's no.
And it's sort of like, what would you add into your day that would make it sort of more exciting?
Don't know really. You can have to think about that one.
What do you enjoy doing as like a hobby? Do you enjoy gardening and growing fruits and
Yeah,
vegetables?
yeah, yeah,
Do
yeah.
you
It's
have the capacity to sort of have a little veggie garden?
yeah. We got a little bit of it going. We can.
Hmm.
Mm,
Because that might be a good way to sort of expand out and sort of look at growing different things. And you might realize I really enjoy, for example, making like like jams and things like that,
yeah.
or making like sort of like your radishes and stuff like that,
Mm,
or relishes, I mean. And it's
yeah.
sort of like that small of a thing can be enough
Mm,
to sort of like electrify your life,
mm,
so to speak.
yeah. Okay.
Because
Yeah.
it's like if you get a lot of enjoyment from it and you do it, and then you can make a way or find a way to create an income from it. So like you could either do like, for example, you could plant like 30 lettuces in a
Mm,
season and then go and sell 30 lettuces and see how much you make. You could do,
mm,
corn, you could do all
mm,
different veg and sort of have it as a bit of a game of I'm going to go out and try and do this season. I'm going to go out and then try and do something new so that you're constantly having to learn and adapt
yeah.
because that's what makes us feel that sense of growth.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
reckon.
So anything
Yeah.
small.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to think about that one. Have a
Mm,
sort of meditate on that one, which is the thing I'm trying to
yeah.
do. I'm trying to learn meditation. That's my focus at the moment is how to
Oh, okay.
come
It's,
within.
meditation's quite, it's a funny thing. A lot of people, they try to meditate in a quiet, ambient surroundings to create the separation from the environment and sort of their conscious awareness. So
Mm,
like that, if you want to conceptualize meditation, it's taking the conscious awareness and separating it from my body, my sort of sensory experience and the
mm,
environment that I'm experiencing and separating it.
mm.
So it's sort of like, have you ever stared at the wall or been sort of off driving and you're sort of staring off into the distance and you're on autopilot?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that's
why.
meditation.
Yeah, I had that with my motorbikes. I could, I
Mm,
can, I could, I could. yeah, they can, at the moment, none of my motorbikes are in vacant service, so they can,
Mm.
I'm sort of lost that bit of vacant, because once
So
again,
yeah, yeah. So it's sort of like what I realized is it's in observation of other that we create the meditative state. So it's sort of like in the observation of my breathing, I create that separation. If I sit there and watch an ant or a fly move around or a bug, like that is a meditative state. If I sit and watch
okay,
the birds, it's a meditative state. If I sit and watch the sort of trees in the breeze,
and the
listening to
same thing with
music,
the fire.
yeah. So however you want to do it, all we're trying to do is sort of create that separation to distraction, so to
Okay,
speak.
well that makes sense because I've been trying to listen to these buddy guided
Mm.
messages, and I just can get tied up and everything. There's too much clatter in my mind. I,
Yeah,
this is not working, and I can give up. But that's a different
yeah, yeah,
thinking.
exactly. And it's sort of like because there's nothing to achieve, so it's sort of like because you think about it, when I'm just sitting on the say the porch, and I'm just sitting on there and sort of thinking about something that's happening. Like once I become distracted and start thinking, it's sort of like all of the clutter of my thoughts have gone away.
Yeah,
And that's the sensation or experience that we're trying to get.
yeah, yeah. Okay, because yeah, like I said, I understand it on the motorbike. I could be,
Mm,
I could travel riding around and still be on, like you say, autopilot.
yeah.
I can, I could be racing around at like an 80, 90 mile an hour, but
Mm.
still be aware of what's and still going
Yeah,
through
exactly.
what's
But
in my life.
also unaware and just sort
Mm,
of in the moment. And
yeah.
that's sort of like if you can sort of visualize or embody that sort of sensation
Mm,
when you're meditating, and all it is just closing your eyes, and then just sort of how I do it is slightly different to other people. So it's sort of like if I'm meditating and I have things racing around in my brain, like I just start talking about it.
mm.
Do you know what I mean? Because
Okay.
it's the
Yeah.
best time to process and sort of see things from different positions when you're in a meditative state.
Mm,
So it's like if I'm finding it difficult to shut off my thinking, it's like I can explore the thoughts and all the different things that are happening within my mind right now, and I am meditating. Or I can clear my mind and have no thought, and I am meditating.
mm.
Do you know what I mean? Because you're not the one directing the thoughts, you're observing the thoughts. So it
Okay.
creates that state of meditation. It's when I'm
Yeah.
consciously trying to focus and direct where those thoughts have to go that I'm enable or unable to meditate.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Mm,
yeah, so it's just that sort of letting go to the control that meditating needs to be any one which way. And it's sort of like it's a state of mind.
okay. Yeah. Because I've always thinking, okay, I'm not releasing, so therefore it's not working.
Mm,
Other than, like I said, on the motorbike, I knew that I was able to
mm,
process my thoughts easily on there, but
yeah, yeah. And it's because there's so much sort of like sensory data coming in, but it's also like you're doing it for so long. So it's like if I sit and I watch a tree for an hour, like I
mm,
will get into a meditative state at some point.
mm.
The longer I do it, the more it happens.
Okay, yeah, well, I'll start trying that then.
Yeah, so like I have one practice that I personally do, and it's with flies. Because you know how annoying it is in summer. I'm not sure if you guys get flies, but how
Yeah, we
annoying it
do.
is when you have flies crawl on you.
I don't mind. Yeah, it's the
Mm.
March flies up here that can piss me off. But
Oh yeah, yeah, they're the worst ones. So
oh, thank
what?
you.
Oh yeah. So what I do is like in the afternoon, I'll sit down on a seat outside and I'll just let the flies come and walk on me and just observe their motions and what they're doing and
Mm,
sort of not try and predict or understand what they're doing, but just watching what they're doing and how they move.
mm,
And what we're doing is we're linking the sensory sensation of the skin being touched and the hairs moving and things like that. And then we're also like focusing in on just observing that fly live life. And it's sort of like, it's a really good way that we can use sensory experience. So, like, for example, we can do this with wind, with rain. Like, if there's a breeze going, you can just stand in the breeze, close your eyes, and just feel the breeze wash over you. And it's
Yeah.
sort of like it creates this sensory experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
these are like some of the best sort of mindful meditations. Because if
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the breeze and I'm observing the breeze sort of blow across my hand, I'm sort of being mindful about life and my position in life, and sort of my perspective is being reorientated and grounded. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Okay. Cool.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's
Yeah.
that's a little good one that I do.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's opened my mind up a bit better to deal with that then, because it was like, okay, no, this is not working. I can, it's too much
Mm,
clutter in my mind. I can't really meditate. So therefore, I'm creating a negativity for my own self with it.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yes.
exactly.
So yes, so it's like, oh yeah, it's just changing things around. Like now it's stepping into this. I joined a spiritual freaking
Hmm.
center the other day to sort of to get around more like-minded people.
Hmm.
Hopefully that helps. We can
Yeah,
invigorate.
and it's sort of like this. If you think, especially with the meditation, if you think about this, like if you've ever been to a football match or anything like that,
Mm,
trying to take a piss while you're focused on everyone that's around you in the toilet, like
mm,
at a
mm,
certain point in time you just have to let go and release. So
yeah,
with meditation, it's just letting go and releasing to
yeah,
any need to define, this is the right way to do it, this is the wrong way to do it, or because it's that the need to sort of define and categorize is the conscious mind, the ego.
mm,
So when
okay,
we
yeah,
let that go and just it is what it is, it's sort of like we're watching waves at the beach.
mm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. It's certainly opening my mind up to different ways of thinking about things, which is great.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. It's awesome. I enjoy talking about this stuff.
Yeah.
I just find it to be fun, and that's the thing. Like if I get paid, if I don't get paid, so to speak, in life, it's like if I had the choice, I would be doing this. So it's sort of
Mm,
like when we realize that, like what we enjoy in life, if I'm willing to do it for free, then why do I need to worry about, if I were to do it, failing in doing it?
mm-hmm,
Because I'm already willing to do it for free. Like naturally, I would move towards doing it anyway. So it's
mm,
sort of like anything other than, like, for example, and what it doesn't have to be anything in particular. So, like, for example, it could be gardening this week,
mm,
it could be making burgers next week. Like, because you're the one that creates the meaning and the purpose behind the actions that you take in this life.
mm.
Yeah.
So you create your own reality.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's sort of like if you're the one who creates your reality, it's sort of like, what reality do you want to live in?
Mm,
And once you determine that, it's like, how do you want to experience that reality? And sort of once you realize what reality you want to live in, so like for example, mine was kindness and joy. I wanted to be, I wanted my reality to be kind, so I became kind to other people, and in my reality, I embody kindness, and I want to enjoy the joyousness of that, because it's more joyful to be kind to other people than it is to
mm.
be aggressive or angry.
Oh shit, yeah.
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 And then it's
Yeah.
like in every action, it doesn't matter what happens in the external environment. If I
Mm,
do that, I have achieved and created it within myself.
mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's helping people. It's always been part of us. We used to take
Mm,
in wayward kids in New Zealand
mm,
and look after them. And most of them were pretty good. They just needed somebody to actually stand up for them and
Mm.
be there. They can products of society. They can really,
Yeah.
which is the problem. And now society is allowing all these young kids to think they are owed something.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a bit crazy how it's
Oh,
all gone.
yeah. It's just like, yeah, it's yeah. Kids are all just entitled now. They're not looking. Yeah, they're not. They want to be the CEO. They don't want to start
Mm.
at the bottom and fucking learn how to be the
No,
CEO.
exactly.
The process is to be that. They just want to go straight to the top.
Exactly. They just want the results without realizing the journey to the results is what
Yeah,
they
yeah. And
seek.
it's self gratification real quick. That
Yeah.
instant gratification is
And
what
that's
every.
sort of like the emptiest version of sort of
Mm,
like gratification is that like sort of instant gratification because then now it's just gratify. And you think about
mm,
it like this: if you, for example, like drinking beer, it's like think of instant gratification as the last sip of the
mm,
beer, and now you got to go up and get another one,
mm.
and all they want is that last sip again and again and again.
Yeah. Well, my gratification with beer is the first sip.
Yeah, exactly, because you want to enjoy it all.
Yeah, yeah. That's when you get the most thing. You've just finished the lawns, and that first fucking thing is great,
Yeah.
but the end of it is like no. And it's here because like drinking has not really been my thing. I did have
Mm.
my moments when I was younger, but now it's just like and because B, I can't bloody go to fucking a snake call out if I've been under the influence.
Oh, yeah.
I can't drive
Bugger
there,
that.
and I certainly don't want to be handling a venomous snake under the influence of it either. So
No, no,
it, it,
that's way too risky.
yeah. Well, especially when the other day it was an Eastern Brown and the fucking red
Mm.
belly black and the fucking in a wardrobe. It's like holy shit. Okay, you got to be
Yeah.
aware at all the time. But mm. All right.
Oh no, that's awesome.
Well, that's
I
awesome.
gotta head off on this one,
Yeah, thanks. Yep, cool, mate. I was
but it's
thinking I've got
been
things I should be doing too.
yeah. It's
But
been
it's like,
great chatting to you, and I run
yeah.
these sessions Monday to Friday,
Oh,
10
okay.
a.m. Yeah,
Mm.
each day. So feel free whenever you want to chat to drop in.
Yeah, no, that's great. Like, and it's good to be open up my mind a little bit better to it. And some things like,
Yeah.
yeah, stepping into this spiritual work and journey, so
Mm.
to speak, because it's like,
Exactly. And the journey of
find
spiritual
myself.
enlightenment is
Yeah,
just
find
your
myself. Like,
journey to realizing it within yourself.
yeah, I had to find myself again. I've been this freaking husband, father,
Mm.
freaking for so long. I
Yeah.
need to.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly. All right. Been awesome
awesome.
talking to you, and I'll talk to
Okay,
you next
Justin, cheers,
time.
mate. Take it easy, bud.
Cheers.
Look after yourself.
Bye.
Have a good day.
See ya.
See you.